Also ich habe 20 Fragen.
20 questions.
Zwei Fragen. Soll man Schmerzmedikamente nehmen, die man über einen längeren Zeitraum einnimmt, absetzen, bevor man in den Blutdruck geht?
Is it recommended to stop taking drugs against pain, which were used over a longer period of time before going into the blue room?
I mean, that's a great question.
Das ist eine tolle Frage.
You know, I never go against what your doctor will tell you. That just creates a lot of problems. You have to make that choice. I'm going to give you options. Most pain medication only works for a little while. I mean, this is what research will tell us. So we have, in America especially, we have massive addicted patient to opiates. Massive, we have an epidemic. And most pain is a byproduct of inflammation.
Und die meisten Schmerzen sind ein Nebenprodukt
inflammation in the joint, inflammation in the tissue, inflammation of the cells. The blue room is very effective at decreasing pain. Now, what I can say if I were you, if it was me, I would stop all pain narcotics. Now that always comes with the question of how to do this, and it really depends on how long you've introduced that to your body and how to safely decrease dosages at a safe rate so that there are minimal side effects from stopping the medication. Most pain medication are so liver toxic and kidney toxic, and they disrupt the natural environment of the stomach that you have to be very careful when you stop them. And I always introduce vitamin therapy to help with that process as well. But who's heard of curcumin? Curcuma? Who's heard of that? Anybody? Nobody? Oh my God. It is by far more effective than ibuprofen at decreasing pain because it helps to decrease inflammation in the body. Now what I am doing is research right now on using turmeric and curcumin in combination with the blue room for chronic pain patients. And we have astounding results. Astounding results. So rheumatoid arthritis is a very difficult disease, especially even osteoarthritis. And most of us as we age, we think, I'm going to have osteoarthritis or some type. It's in our consciousness. And so drug therapy has been what most of the therapy for them has been. So I'm working with rheumatoid and osteoarthritis patients, and curcumin and turmeric and the blue room to decrease inflammation. And the stories are astounding of people returning back to sports after years of not being able to do anything, to being able to pick up their grandchildren again, being able to garden, all of these wonderful things, and some had horrific injuries.
Kann es sein, dass dieses Licht oder das Licht allgemein eine Art Synapse oder eine Brücke zu einem unsichtbaren Reservoir sein, das uns noch mehr Zufriedenheit geben könnte?
Can it be that it creates a synapses or a bridge to an unknown reservoir that would bring us more happiness or a happier state and peace?
Communication.
And joy.
Yeah, it's an increase in communication.
Es ist eine Erhöhung in der Kommunikation.
That's what it is. So simple, yet very profound.
So einfach und doch so grundlegend.
Who's watched Star Trek before?
Wer hat Star Trek angeschaut?
That's a great show. When I was a little boy, I always loved how the doctor would just run, you know, that device over their body, and it would heal. Right? Remember this?
Erinnern Sie sich daran?
And I always said, wouldn't that be wonderful? You have an injury, you simply put a frequency and it heals. And that's why I brought up in the beginning that when you have a cut, when you have a bruise, when you have a broken bone, you don't have to think about your body healing. Your body does it, and that's the communication or frequency of communication. So you're talking about the synapse firing to bring communication. That's what this blue room is. It is a massive augmenter of the communication of your body. And it goes further. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Ich habe eine Frage, Dr. Med. Wie hoch ist normalerweise die Dosierung von Kurkuma?
The question is, how high is normally the doses of curcuma?
I normally recommend if you have osteo or rheumatoid arthritis,
Normalerweise, wenn man
1,500 milligrams a day.
Arthritis hat,
1,500.
1500.
There's no bad side effects with this. This is a natural
keine Nebenwirkungen.
and it will increase digestion and decrease inflammation. So I normally recommend 1,500 milligrams a day.
1,500 grams?
Milligrams.
Milligrams.
1,500 grams, that's a lot. That would be an all-day job. Any more questions?
Weitere Fragen?
Don't be shy. Yeah.
Seien Sie nicht schüchtern.
I have often the experience that in the blue room, at the time, my thinking is disconnected. I cannot get in focus. So has it something to do with the frequencies? In Deutsch, ich habe in den Blue Room Sitzungen oft das Gefühl, dass mein Denken aussetzt und ich keinen Fokus halten kann, ob das was mit den Frequenzen zu tun hat.
That's a very good question.
Sehr gute Frage.
Your focus is determined on what is in your mind.
Ihr Fokus ist darauf
So,
ausgerichtet,
I mean,
was
this
in
is,
Ihren Gedanken ist.
I love quantum physics because it really goes into how we should treat patients.
Es geht wirklich darum, wie wir
If you have a normal pattern of thought,
ein normales Gedankenmuster
and
hat,
this pattern of thought has been the way you've always have
das ist,
thought about things,
wie man immer darüber gedacht hat.
and you have a nutritional deficiencies, etc. I mean, different
Nährstoffmangel
things.
hat.
And you go into a place that restores communication in the body.
Wo die Kommunikation
Don't you think that's going to change the way you think?
Was denken Sie, wie Sie
This is very
Sie
simple
darüber denken werden?
to kind of
Das
understand.
ist sehr einfach zu verstehen.
So you fire a certain way outside of the blue room. Your mind fires in a certain way. And then you go into the blue room, which is designed to increase communication in the body, and you find that you can't think the same way. It's a very good thing.
Das ist eine ganz tolle Sache.
Ich hätte eine Frage, die mir bewusst geworden ist im Hineinführen von Menschen in den Blumen und wieder herausholen. Und zwar hat sich vor mir ein Bild aufgebaut, dass wenn die Menschen da drin sind und die Frequenzen sich im Raum bewegen und im Prinzip der Körper in irgendeiner Weise über diese Frequenzen abgerastert wird, wo die Problemzonen sind oder wo Energiestaus sind, dass in diesem Moment so etwas entsteht wie Überlagerung dieser Frequenzen, als ob es einen epigenetischen Fingerabdruck über denjenigen gibt und sein genaues Heilungsmuster ausgelöst wird. Ist diese Wahrnehmung möglich? Okay.
Dann merkt man das alles. Kerstin said, she noticed when she brought people into the blue room and took them out of the blue room, she had this picture, she imagined this picture that the frequency has been like a scan in different parts of the body where the
unterschiedliche Überlagerungen bilden, je nachdem, wo die Energie
where the energy blocks are.
Und als ob im Raum ein persönliches Bild aufgebaut wird,
image is built up for that individual patient.
Yeah, you're describing acupuncture.
Du beschreibst Akupunktur sehr gut.
You're describing it really is.
Genau so ist es.
So when I started to design
Als ich begonnen habe, den Room mit meiner Partnerin zu gestalten,
you had to take in mind every modality and what was the best part of these modalities.
in Betracht gezogen und was ist das Beste dieser
how many people know how long acupuncture has been around?
Wie viele von Ihnen wissen, wie lange es Akupunktur bereits gibt?
We have 10,000 years.
10.000
We have
Jahre.
manuscripts that go back 10,000 years that show why. And it's communication, correct?
Es ist Kommunikation.
That's why you put a needle here to either increase or decrease communication, depend on what the doctor is determining. So you're describing that exact effect, which is exactly what that blue room was designed to do.
Genau das ist der Effekt, wofür der Blue Room gestaltet wurde.
So you said sickness is an attitude that blocks the receptors, is that right? It blocks the receptors?
Sickness is really specifically a lack of good communication in the body.
Ist Krankheit etwas, was die Rezeptoren blockiert? Ist das, was Sie gesagt haben?
Sickness is a lack of good communication.
Krankheit ist der Mangel guter Kommunikation im Körper.
So why do you get a cold?
Warum bekommt man eine Erkältung? Warum?
Does anyone know why?
Weiß irgendjemand warum?
You're going to make me answer this one.
Sie bringen mich dazu, die Frage zu beantworten.
You get a cold because your immune system is not able to have good communication in order to fight a certain bacteria or virus. Now, the germ theory will tell us that the bacteria virus, if it's too much, it overwhelms our immune system and make it sick. Now, I want us all to be very intelligent for a moment. If that germ theory was real, we'd all be dead. We don't be dead. Because we have all been exposed at any given moment to anything and everything that there is on the earth. For us doctors who have taken microbiology, I hope you did the swab on yourself in your throat, the culture. Do you remember this in medical school? What did you find on that swab? It scared me. I remember this, my first year of medical school. That is on you, in you, at any given moment. Your communication in your body is what keeps you healthy. Right? So when children are small, we have all had children, how many times do they drop food, pick up the food and just eat it, and you're like, oh my God. But they don't get sick. So if the germ theory was actually real, none of us would make it out of childhood. So it is a lack of communication. Why the communication breaks down? Many reasons. Decrease in nutrition, high stress, environmental toxins, for example, heavy metals, pollution, bad food, all of those different things. So to restore the communication process, you get healthy.
Indem man die wiederherstellt, wird man gesund.
Does that answer your question?
So if we don't change our attitudes and our habits, and so we can go like 100 times to the blue room, but it won't work because our cells can't communicate because we have this stress
It will help you.
Wenn wir also in den Blue Room gehen und unsere Einstellungen und Gewohnheiten nicht ändern, dann können wir 100-mal hingehen und es wird uns nicht helfen.
It will help you in that moment.
In dem Augenblick wird es helfen.
But as we know, if you continually have a lifestyle, like I just said, the definition of insanity,
fortführt.
Is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And of course you're going to have to keep coming back to the blue room over and over and over again. Whether it's your attitude, whether it's your lifestyle, whether it's the choices you eat, the people in your life, all of those things.
Entscheidungen, die Menschen, die sich im jeweiligen Leben befinden, all das.
Danke, dass ich sprechen darf. Nach allem, was bis jetzt gesagt wurde, komme ich zu dem Schluss, dass wir es hier mit einem Reaktor zu tun haben. Wenn ich davon ausgehe, dass ich Seele bin und einen Menschen führe, dann würde plötzlich ein Bibelwort in diesem Zusammenhang Sinn machen. Trachtet zuerst nach dem Reich Gottes, dann wird euch alles andere zufallen. Damit meine ich in unserer Sprache übersetzt, wenn wir unsere Aufmerksamkeit darauf richten, was wir als Gott oder größte Liebe betrachten, innerhalb dieses Raums, während wir dieser Behandlung ausgesetzt sind oder während wir uns in dieser Behandlung befinden, dann müssten wir einen Mega-Effekt erzielen.
When listening to this, I would say we have a reactor, and I presume that we are souls and lead people.
Wir sind Seele, die einen Menschen führt.
We are souls leading people.
Und wir sind da, wo unsere
And we are there where
Aufmerksamkeit
our
ist.
attention is.
Dann müssten wir unsere
Then we would
Aufmerksamkeit
have our
eigentlich nur auf die höchste
attention
Göttlichkeit
only
richten.
to direct to the highest God
Während wir innerhalb dieses Prozesses sind,
while we're in this
dann
process.
müssten wir einen
And
Mega-Effekt
then we
haben.
would have a mega effect.
I agree.
Stimme zu.
Any more questions?
So Fragen?
Eine provokative Frage. Wie wirkt sich das heilende Licht auf Zellen aus, die im Todesprozess sich befinden?
A provocative question, how does the light affect cells being in the death process,
In the death process?
the dying process?
Well, your cells are dying all the time.
Ihre Zellen sterben die ganze Zeit über.
That's a beautiful part of our bodies, that we have this beautiful balance.
Ein schöner Teil unseres Körpers.
You have something called anabolism in the body, which is building up, creating, and you have catabolism, which is destroying.
Metabolismus.
And sometimes part of the problem with different diseases
Und manchmal ist das Problem mit den unterschiedlichen
is that
Krankheiten,
you don't let certain things die off
dass
before
man manche
they
Dinge
get to become a
nicht
problem.
sterben lässt, bevor
Right?
sie zu einem Problem werden.
So the blue room helps with both sides
Der
of
Blumen
that.
hilft auf beiden Seiten davon.
So for instance, if you have cells that are becoming cancerous or tumor cells,
die Krebszellen
you want
Tumorzellen werden,
your catabolism side of your metabolism
dann gibt es die katabalistische Seite des Metabolismus,
to
des
destroy
Stoffwechsels,
this.
das
You hope so.
zu
That's part of your
zerstören.
immune system.
Denn das ist
But if the
völlig, denn das ist
improper
Teil des
communication is
Immunsystems.
there,
Und
you end up
wenn es
having a
feindliche
great disease.
Kommunikation gibt, dann hätte
So
man keine.
the blue room
große
helps
Krankheit.
restore both sides of that
Der
communication.
Blue Room hilft also dabei, die beiden Seiten der Kommunikation wiederherzustellen.
Any more questions?
Weitere Fragen?
Would the blue room then strengthen or lengthen the telomere growth?
That's a good question.
Kannst du das auf Deutsch auch sagen?
Würde der Blue Room dann die Telomere, das Wachstum der Telomere verstärken?
That's a very good question.
Eine sehr gute Frage.
Everyone understand what telomeres are?
Wissen alle, was Telomere
Well,
sind?
some.
Einige?
Telomeres
Telomere
recently in medicine have become very
sind in der
popular
Medizin vor kurzem
because it
sehr beliebt
determines
geworden, weil
the rate at
sie
which your cells age or are healthy.
bestimmen,
And it's in your DNA.
wie
You
schnell
have
ein
these
Alter
wonderful
man ist.
arms that we call
Und,
telomeres,
dann gibt es diese
that
wundervollen
either they're
Arme, die
long or
Telomere,
they're
die
short,
entweder
and
lang
by
oder
being
kurz
long,
sind. Und
you
wenn
have
sie
a
so lang
wonderful
sind,
way of being healthy
eine
depending on
wundervolle
many different things. But to
Möglichkeit,
make a very
gesund
short
zu sein,
story,
aber
you want them very long and healthy.
um das kurz zu sagen, man will, dass sie sehr, sehr lang sind.
So your DNA is where? Stored where?
Es wird wo gespeichert?
For those of us,
Für die,
the nucleus of the cell.
das Wissen im Kern der
Correct,
Zelle.
the nucleus of the
Im
cell.
Kern der Zelle.
And in every one of your cells, you have this beautiful blueprint of exactly what that cell is supposed to do.
Was die Zelle tun soll.
And in order for it to be healthy, you have to have ample vitamin D. Vitamin D for your DNA and your telomeres are of utmost importance. So telomere health is, in my opinion, a byproduct of you all over being healthy. And there was this big debate in medicine that your genetics determine the length of your telomere. Correct? Well, we know this is false simply by looking at adopted children. There have been many genetic studies which have shown one family has, let's say, heart problems. They have an adopted child, and this child develops heart problems. Very similar to the non-related portion of that family. And we go, why? What is this? It's lifestyle. It's attitudes, all of those certain things that come into that lifestyle of that family. So telomere length, I think, is one way to see if you're healthy. But I think it's more important to be able to just know that you're healthy. Like you just said, I feel so good. That's a very good sign. And most of us don't realize that that is something you feel every day. Now I'm going to call some of you out. I saw some of us falling asleep. Most of us are always tired. Most of us are always stressed. Most of us have a focus on lack of time, lack of money, etc., etc. Now, just looking at that small aspect of your existence, how can you be healthy if that is your focus? I mean, that's the truth. How can you be healthy if that is your focus constantly? When you were a child, that wasn't your focus.
Als Kind war das nicht ihr Fokus.
Everyone's going to say, okay, yeah, Dr. Matt, you're an adult, this is the responsibilities, etc., etc. I have 2 clinics.
Ich habe 2 Kliniken.
I have small children.
Ich habe kleine Kinder.
I have anywhere from 600 to 1,200 patients a week between both of my clinics. Now, if my focus wanted to be on stress, but that's not a healthy focus. My focus is I am privileged to have these people in my life to help. I am privileged to be here. I am privileged to wake up every day and get to do this as my work. I love to go and exercise and sweat. I love to eat good food. Those aren't things for me that I look at like, oh my God, I've got to go exercise or I've got to eat this yucky food. And those who have been around me long enough, you can find joy in everything. It is simply the attitude that you desire to create in that moment. And if you look at that aspect, health. Okay, any more questions?
Dr. Matt, ist es dann sinnvoll, dass man Vitamin D jeden Tag einnimmt, auch in den Sommermonaten, in den Pausen zwischen den Blue Room Besuchen? Und entweder nein oder wenn ja, wie viel? Es gibt hier zum Beispiel in Deutschland ein Präparat mit 20.000 Einheiten, die aber rezeptpflichtig sind.
So, Dr. Matt, does it make sense to take in vitamin D also in the summer months or in the time period between sessions in the room? And if yes, how much? Here in Germany there is a something existing that has 20,000 units, but it has to be prescribed.
Right. You know, this is a very good question. You don't have vitamin D stores but maybe a little bit in your liver.
Vitamin D-Speicher. Vielleicht mal ein bisschen davon.
So you have to have constant vitamin or light to create vitamin D, or at least a supplement.
Vitamin D
and this is why, if you look at us, and you just use your mind, we have a beautiful canvas to create vitamin D on every inch of our body. So you need to make sure you have vitamin D every day. Every day. And this is a great little, you'll get this. We have a cold and flu season, don't we?
Wir haben eine Saison für Erkältungserkrankungen.
We say in medicine, it's cold and it's flu season. What time of year is that?
Der Arzt sagt, es ist die Zeit, wo alle erkältet sind. Welche Zeit
you get the lowest amount of vitamin D.
Das wenigste Vitamin D bekommt.
I don't believe there is a cold or flu season. It's not like those viruses or bacteria suddenly appear. They're in hiding and all of a sudden they come out.
Sie sich nur verstecken und dann plötzlich rauskommen.
It is your lack of understanding of education on what your body needs to be healthy every single day. You have to have essential vitamins every day.
Wesentlichen Vitamine.
You have to have good rest,
jeden Tag haben.
good clean water, good food, laughter, and de-stress. It's not that difficult to become very healthy. We just get in the way. So vitamin D every day is very important. Now, the RDA is something like ridiculous, like 400 IUs, I believe, a day. It's minimal. I generally recommend for a healthy person, around 10,000 IUs a day is very important. Most doctors go, oh my God, 10,000. Show me one case of vitamin D toxic exposure where someone has died. Show me one. I've been to many medical schools to speak on this subject. No one can show me anyone who has died from overdosing on vitamin D. It doesn't happen. If you tried, it would probably take you at least a month of every day. So we have to change the philosophy and the way we look at the body. Light is the best way to get your vitamin D, so I recommend that you try to get light exposure every day. If you can't, try to have a supplement in your diet. Now, the supplement is not what you make. It is a synthetic version that is not biologically engineered by you to fit perfectly with your body. So this is going to be a new concept for some people. When you create a hormone, vitamin D is very much like a hormone in your body. It is specifically designed for your cells. It is created by your body to fit you. So my vitamin D that I create is different from Dr. Kirsten's and Bernhardt's. And mine would not be very good for their body because it was designed for me. So for you to make your own vitamin D on a daily basis is critical to your health. Now I want us to think of our great-grandparents. Did they have sunscreen?
Hatten sie Sonnencreme?
Did they have vitamin D supplements?
Hatten sie Vitamin D Ergänzungen?
Were they outside a lot?
Waren sie viel draußen?
Yes. Did they grow gardens?
Sie hatten Gärten.
Now, what was the rate of cancer, especially skin cancer, for our great-grandparents? It was almost non-existent.
Beinahe nicht existent.
Basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, metastatic cancers are things of this generation. And this is the truth. And so therefore you must be educated enough to look at the statistics and look at what we've been doing to ourselves in health. It's time to make a change. Thank you very much, everyone.
Vielen Dank an alle.
have another question about the number of the vitamin D receptor sites on the cells. Does they increase when we are doing a lot of blue room sessions, and is that one of the effects to increase the communication in the body? Also die Frage in Deutsch, wenn wir in den Blue Room gehen, ob die Vitamin D3-Rezeptoren sich auf den Zellwänden vermehren und ob das dann einen Effekt hat auf die Kommunikation des Körpers, die gesunde Kommunikation des Körpers.
You won't increase any receptor sites, but what you do is increase the communication process.
Wenn wir nicht die Rezeptoren erhöhen, sondern die Kommunikation.
Who's played Tetris before?
Wer hat sogar Tetris gespielt?
The game where you put all the pieces
Dieses
together.
Spiel, wo all die Teilchen zusammenpassen.
So your cells have various places for hormones and vitamins to fit on the cell. And they kind of fit that way. So when you take a vitamin D supplement, for instance, your cells will say, okay, that's a vitamin D, I recognize it, but it's not your vitamin D, so we'll use it for a little while, but we're not going to be able to use it as effectively because the communication process isn't there. So as you use the blue room and you create more of your own vitamin D, your communication process for vitamin D to be utilized in the body does increase.
Für das Vitamin D einfach verbessert.
Any more questions? No. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for coming.